Good morning, everybody. Hope you guys are doing well. I just wanted to come on here today and just share a word that's kind of been burdening my heart this morning. Just as I've been praying and just being with Jesus. Something that's been on my mind a lot lately, and it's something that I take very seriously, and I think that we all should. It has to do with the poor, the rich, and the United States Church, which you wouldn't think that there would be a difference between the United States Church and the church in the rest of the world, but unfortunately there is a dramatic difference in these two churches. And I'll get to that in a minute just to kind of explain that. But first I want to go into Matthew 26 verses 6 through 13. And this is the precious ointment. This is where the woman comes into Simon's house. Simon's, I believe he has some kind of skin disease. And she actually comes in and pours the ointment over his head. But it says, now when Jesus was in Bethany at the home of Simon the leper, a woman came to him with an alabaster vial of very costly perfume, and she poured it upon his head as he reclined at the table. But the disciples were indignant when they saw this and said, why this waste? For this perfume might have sold for a high price and the money given to the poor. But Jesus, aware of this, said to them, why do you bother the woman? For she has done a good deed to me. For the poor you have with you always, but you do not always have me. For when she poured this perfume upon my body, she did it to prepare for me for burial. Now, this is roughly 2 days before Passover. Passover was the time Jesus was crucified, which is exactly the same time we're in right now. Truly I say to you, whatever this gospel is preached in the whole world, what this woman has done shall be spoken of in memory of her. And today we're still talking about her because this is such a profound moment. This is such a profound time. And there's so many different facets of this, and I'm going to try to make this short and sweet and just kind of bless you guys. But so they're in this leper's house and they're hanging out, and Jesus is reclined at a table. He's relaxed. He's at home there. And I've always heard that Jesus hung out with the poor and he hung out with sinners. And that's true. He absolutely 100% did. But he also hung out with the rich. And this is something that I think I missed for a large part of my life. And I think a lot of people still don't understand and still don't get that Jesus actually had many rich friends. If you think about it, this woman who came with the alabaster jar, that alabaster jar was worth over 1 year's wages. How many of you right now can spend $20, $30, $40, $100,000 on a bottle of perfume that would be 1 year's wages? How many of you can go and just drop $100,000, $40,000 on a bottle of perfume? I don't know anybody right now. I might know a few people that could, but I don't know too many people that could, which means that this woman was rich. She had to be rich. And, so often we hear about the rich, and we hear about people who are coming against the rich because, Jesus talked to the rich in a couple different places, and he says, it's harder for a rich man to enter the gates. It's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than a rich man to enter into the gates of heaven. And that's a whole nother thing I'm not going to get into. The eye of a needle is actually a door in the Temple Mount. But, we hear all this stuff and we look at the rich as being a negative thing. Well, if my thing is if God owns the cattle on 1,000 hills and owns the 1,000 hills, then he's actually rich. And if we're to be like him, then I'm not saying we're all supposed to be rich, but there's a difference between being wealthy and being rich. Being rich with money is one thing, and I think God actually stewards people who have money, and you can actually be rich and steward wealth well whenever you walk with the Father. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today. Not like a poverty mindset, not like a what's the other word people use? The prosperity gospel. It's neither one of those. It's actually somewhere right down the middle, and I think it's truth. So in America right now, guys, this is something I've been really focusing on the past little bit, was just that, if you look at the Chinese church, this is great because of the coronavirus, because we've been hearing a lot about China, and we live here in the U.S., and coronavirus has been in both places. But if you look at the Chinese church, it's actually illegal. I believe it's still illegal in most places, if not the whole country, to be a Christian and have a Bible in China. And if you go and you meet those people in China or in those other third world countries or in those other countries where they're persecuted for their faith, their relationship with Jesus is completely different. They're willing to give it all. They literally are willing to give it all. They're willing to die for their faith. And we're not here in America. And it's not, I'm not coming against anybody. I'm just bringing something up and saying, hey, listen, like, I think most of us, even myself at certain points in time, not anymore, but at certain points of time, had my faith been brought to the point of, okay, you can either renounce Jesus or die. I don't know what I would have done. Today, absolutely 100%, I would never renounce Jesus. I wouldn't do it. It's not worth it. But, that's one of the things here in America. We've gotten so comfortable, and I think it's a shaking that's happening with this coronavirus. Is just that, and I don't think God's doing it. It's not punishment. It's nothing like that. It's an awakening. And I think whenever we awaken into the fullness of who we are in Jesus, whenever we awaken into that reality that we are the sons and daughters of God, and we take off that entitled mindset, because a lot of times us as the church here in America, we actually have an entitled mindset, where people in the church over in China and those persecuted churches, they have more of a humble servant mindset. And I think the marriage between the two is so key, because not only are we sons and daughters of God and we have the right to walk and stand in that, but we're also here to serve the earth as the Father's vessel. We're here to be God's vessel. We're here to be the hands and feet of Jesus, which means we lay down our life. So if you go back and look in Matthew 26 at this woman who went and took over a year's wages that she had invested into this bottle of perfume. God only knows how many times she'd used it, if ever. I mean, I don't even know why you buy perfume that expensive. I have no idea. Where do you wear that at? I have no idea. I've never owned anything like that, and I don't think it's wrong to, but I don't know. Like that had to have been like a very, very special thing to her. And she goes and she pours the whole bottle on Jesus' head. She gave it all. That's what we've got to do, church. It's what we've got to do here. And we've just got to get in this place where we're willing to go and give it all. Why do you bother the woman? For she has done a good deed to me. For the poor you have with you always, but you do not always have me. This is what it's all about, guys. It's not about going and doing the stuff and reaching the poor and healing the sick and casting out demons and even cleansing the leper. There's a leper here, and I'm sure he got healed because Jesus was there, but it doesn't mention it in the text. So that's a little bit of speculation, but I'm sure it happened. But right here, what this message is talking about is this woman came and she gave it all to Jesus. Her focus was on Jesus. It wasn't on the poor. It wasn't on the leper who was over here in the corner or whatever. It was on Jesus. It was on the man Jesus. It was on the beloved Jesus. And that's what we have to focus on. That's what we have to pour everything out. Everything we've ever saved up for. Everything we've ever wanted to invest in. We have to give it to Jesus. And you need to ask him. You need to talk to him. Be like, God, how can I give more of myself to you? And once we have this heart, once we have this position, I think we're actually going to see a change in the church where we've gone from this entitled mindset to showing up in church on Sunday and having a great time on Sunday and living like hell the rest of the week. Again, I'm not judging anybody. It's just what happens here. It's what happens all over the world, but I'm talking about here. This is what happens. Whenever we get rid of that entitled mindset and start walking as a servant and as a loving bride of Jesus, things are going to change, and it's going to be amazing. So I'm just going to pray over you guys real quick. I love you guys to death. Y'all really are amazing. Man, Jesus. I love you, Jesus. And you love me. I pray that you would just take this word, you just sow it into our hearts, Jesus, that you would just make us so aware, that you would make all of us so aware of your presence at any given time that we're willing to just go and lay down at your feet and drop whatever we're doing and just be with you, because there's always stuff, God. There's always something that can come up. There's always something that can get in the way of spending time with you. There's always something that can distract our minds in the ever-present moment, or where we can't talk to you, or we get distracted. And I ask right now for today and for really forever, for that just to dissipate, for us to be so focused on you that we're willing to give it all, Jesus, that you would change the church's heart in America, that you take this entitled mindset off of us and give us this servant mindset where we can still walk as sons and daughters of you, but also be completely laid down our life, pick up our cross, and just serve you, Jesus, right now, Father, anybody that's sick, I pray that you heal them right now that's watching. If anybody has a family member that's sick, if anybody has any kind of need, I pray right now, Father, that you would just come into that individual's life, that you would speak to them and show them who you are. Your love would rain down and pour. You're so amazing, Jesus. Thank you for dying for us on the cross, for showing us who you are and for demonstrating love to its fullest extent. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. I love you guys. I'm sure I'll be back on here either later today or tomorrow, but if I can do anything for you guys, please reach out to me. I love you guys immensely, and I just want to help. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to help. Here to start spreading this word and really start learning how to live it out, not in the way of condemnation, but in a way of loving kindness like Jesus would do. So I'm on all the social media platforms, I think, but I'm going to try to start really blasting that stuff out soon. So if you like this video, like it, love it, whatever, you guys know what to do. Just want to blast this word and get it out. So I love you guys. I hope you're doing well. Reach out to me if you need anything. I'll see you guys next time.